6:34, this is breakfast. I nearly said breakfast with Anne and Nick then. We were just talking
it's just
about
we were talking about what makes you feel old, you see. And I said what made me feel very old was that Stephen did work experience on Good Morning with Anne and Nick.
Yeah, at Pebble Mill.
Yeah.
To sneak onto the set and pinch things.
And my first reaction was I said to I hope I was nice to you, but you never got to meet me.
No, I wasn't allowed to meet the talent. I was only a student, so I couldn't meet the talent.
But you see, that's what we're asking, what makes you feel old today, because little Prince George is on the front page of all the newspapers today because it's his 9th birthday. Can you believe he's 9? That's what's making us feel old.
Scary. Look, in the Times this morning, Conservative leadership candidates Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak have exchanged blows over their tax pledges. There is an increased lead for the Foreign Secretary, apparently, and there's that picture of Prince George.
The Eye says a Stop Truss plot as Penny Mordaunt supporters orchestrate a revenge campaign.
The Express has the BBC apology over the Panorama smears, saying, "We let Diana down."
The Mirror adds that the police should now charge the culprits behind the Bashir interview.
Channel migrants who triggered alerts on security databases have been allowed to vanish without fingerprints or photographs being taken, according to the Mail.
And the eldest son of Big Brother star Jade Goody has landed a role in EastEnders. Bobby Brazier, 19, joins the BBC One soap cast as a mischievous member of the Slater family this autumn.
And that makes you feel old.
That really does, because I knew Jade, and I can't believe her son is now... Let's hope he has a really good career as an actor.
You see, that makes you think, how long is it since she died?
A long time. Do you know, and she was a lovely girl. I know she was controversial, but she was a lovely girl. She had a big heart.
Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. But let's have a look through the papers this morning with the author of Secret Britain and oh, that's new. And anthropologist Mariana Hotta. Have you insisted? Is that your rider now?
No, I didn't insist. I was asked.
Oh, really?
And
And it's
why not?
to buy, and it's an excellent book.
Is
Good,
it?
I'm sure it
Yeah.
is.
It's really good.
Recommend your own work.
75 or so different artefacts and sites of amazing archaeology around Britain.
Yeah, all right, all right.
No, I like that. That sounds really good.
So I'm very proud of it, so you should go and buy one.
Excellent, thank you. A free one would be nice. Author and journalist James Bloodworth is here as well. Good morning.
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 So,
James has to plug something as well now. Sure.
I have a book called Hired. It's a very good read. I'm sold on your books.
Oh, yeah, we should do a book swap. We could do a book club.
I've got a book.
Oh, yeah, you write
poetry.
poems, don't you?
Yes, there you go. You can check
What's
it
yours
out.
called? Where do we buy it?
It's called Love is Beauty. Love is the Beauty of the Soul.
Oh.
Oh, he's such a romantic.
Yeah.
However, shall we get down to brass tacks?
Let's.
Because the leadership election is never far away, and you've chosen that from the Times, I think, James.
Yes, so Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss are trading blows over whose tax policy would be better for the country. So Sunak, the former Chancellor, he's accusing Liz Truss of basically unfunded promises of 30 billion tax cuts, which he's saying will cause inflation to rise. Most of the financial experts, tend to agree with Rishi Sunak on that, but Liz Truss is also countering by saying that Rishi Sunak's policy, his failed economic policy, will lead Britain into recession and make it very hard for the Conservatives to win the next election.
What do you reckon, Marianne?
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting at this point because there's two very different views on what we should do in order to help the UK economy. Do you keep taxes high? Do you follow through with that implementation of the national insurance hike? You follow through with the rise in corporation tax? Or, because you need to, actually keep inflation down, you need to keep those that money coming into the Treasury to keep those services running? Or, like Liz Truss is suggesting, you borrow in order to provide tax cuts for people, which potentially gives them more money to spend, but could increase inflation. So does Rishi Sunak... It could grow the economy. Does Rishi Sunak's policy cause stagnation because everyone's going, I'm feeling the pinch and you're taking more money off me? I actually don't know what the right answer is, but it's kind of interesting now because it's a genuine question about what is the best thing for the economy, rather than something that's about sort of party political infighting.
But it's also about what's best for those people who are really struggling now, isn't it? Cost of living crisis, they have more money in their pockets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of Rishi Sunak, but I do think he has a point in terms of the biggest cost of living issue at the moment is inflation. So inflation's about 9-10% at the moment, and tax cuts I mean, most of the experts seem to agree that tax cuts would be inflationary. Inflation would likely go up more. I don't think that the national insurance increase was the best tax rise, because that's hitting working people. There would have been better ways to raise income, I think, than that. But I think Liz Truss, I think, peddling this kind of fantasy economics, because she's also talking about mass savings from public services by cutting bureaucracy. I mean, this is something politicians always say, this idea that there's masses of bureaucracy that can just be cut. And I don't think there is anymore. I think David Cameron and George Osborne cut a lot of that in the past decade. And I think she's peddling this kind of fantasy economics to win support.
Which is going to appeal more to the people who have a vote?
Well,
and that's the Conservative
tax cuts,
faithful.
I think.
The tax cuts probably, because it's much more of a sort of conservative heartland policy. But that's the thing that troubles me, that actually these are policies being peddled to appeal to, the 200,000 Conservative Party members, rather than what you actually want from a governing Prime Minister, which will say, what is best for everybody in our country, what is best for our country on an international stage, not just, will this appeal to people enough that I'll get the job, and then will this appeal to people enough that I'll keep my job when the general election comes up? Because when you make an economic policy like this, you actually want leaders who can show leadership based on evidence, based on the advice of experts, and they're planning 5, 10, 20 years in advance.
Well, then you would say Rishi Sunak, couldn't you?
Reaction.
You would say Rishi Sunak, because he's
extolling
a
realistic about it.
He's more realistic, but then you potentially face the risk of this stagflation, where you've got inflation, massive inflation and stagnation, which is terrible for everyone. Of course, this isn't just a problem that's that the UK is facing. Some of these are very enormous global shocks. The Ukraine war. The post-pandemic supply chain issues, cost of energy, all that stuff, climate change and all the disruptions from severe climate change, all that is going to get more and worse and more rapidly deteriorating. And so we really do need leaders who can step up. And I do worry that both of them are kind of peddling ideas that, like you say, are either fantastical or more of the same. And you do wonder, surely there's a third way. I mean, between all the great economic brains of...
We're not going to hear that, though, are we? You might have said that, that would have been one of the other candidates.
Well, it would be nice.
We've got the two candidates. And
we've got the Bank of England. What are they? Aren't they supposed to have...
It feels a bit like the Conservative Party's run out of steam. It feels very similar to the end of the New Labour government, 12 years ago, when a party just runs out of ideas after a governing party.
Yeah.
Do you think that's inevitable? Do you think that whatever, the next general election will probably overturn everything?
Probably, but I honestly don't think, particularly the people who are really feeling the pinch now, things are going to get much worse. We don't have 2 years to sort of zombie our way through.
This is the problem.
Where Rishi Sunak will go, well, things are a bit tough in Blackburn.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do, though, because wages have been flatlining for a long time now, and we have just kind of zombied on through it, so it wouldn't surprise me if we do.
And since 2010, so many of those public service, effectively sort of safety nets, have been stripped away. The services that support families when they're struggling, the services that support young people so that they're not just dotting about on the streets getting into trouble.
Getting a GP appointment.
Getting a GP appointment so that you can stay as healthy and well as possible, so that you can, for example, carry on working, so that you're not massively impacted by chronic illness or disability.
Oh, do you know what?
All that fun stuff.
I'll tell you what, well, talking of fun stuff, I want to change tack because we're a bit tight for time. James, I want to talk about eating with your mouth open in the mail. Do not do it, is what I was always told.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that most people consider a faux pas. I mean, if you have someone at your dinner table who's eating with their mouth open, you tend to kind of give them a wide berth. But apparently it makes you taste the food better. Food tastes better if you do that. But I mean, maybe for the person doing it, if you're on your own, but I'm still of the idea that if someone is at my dinner table chewing with their mouth open, I'm going to...
No, it's horrible.
I'm going to look down,
it
not look favourably on that. It's not very pleasant for other people, I don't think.
It's not nice at all.
No.
It might make your food taste better.
I was set up on a date once with a bloke who ate with his mouth
Red
open.
flag.
That was that, yeah.
In some cultures, though, eating with your mouth open shows that you're really enjoying your food. You're sort of expressing the deliciousness of it, as opposed to kind of like a tight-lipped, I just eat my food and not really take up much space in the world.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, I keep my...
But we don't have to be embarrassed about our culture over here, do we? Just
No, not at all.
More polite.
But mate, can you imagine a version where, you know, you go to some kind of gastronomic feast at Heston Blumenthal or something, and you're like you're being told, you have to eat this fancy fondant thing with your mouth open.
Oh no.
No, I couldn't do it.
Do you not do it?
No,
I mean, the food may taste better for you, but it seems kind of selfish because
Yeah.
it may put other people off there.
Yes. Well, if you're about to indulge in your breakfast this morning, let us know.
Keep your mouth closed.
Yes, I think it's just nice, isn't it? Mary Ann, James, we shall see you two a little bit later on. Thank you very much indeed.